One thing that you can't fault Minister Dlodlo of is his dance moves. He can really move a little bit. He's quite decent. And you shouldn't also confuse that with him being called the Minister of Nightclubs, okay? Another one of those so-called expert panels came out with the report regarding last year's July unrest that had occurred in KwaZulu-Natal province, as well as some parts of Gauteng, Johannesburg, Soweto, the East Rand, and so forth. What are the verdict from those panel of experts is that everything, all this unrest could have been prevented, could have been seen first, identified, disrupted, and prevented. In the end, what stopped that? The panel states that it's an ongoing beef between the faction, something that we do all know very well, okay? And one of the funny moments, well, you know, depending on how you see it, was the part where Cele was running around at night with police officers and conducting all these search and seizures of folks who were looting, and then they had to make sure that everybody lied down, and there was an old gogo there, which the benevolent, loving, caring Cele told that old gogo that you can go away, and there was this other person who also claimed to be a gogo. You know, it was kind of funny. Regardless of how you see it, as to whether each and everyone breaks the law, obviously they have to be responsible for that. Now, back to this issue of the panel report, which the president had released. It also stated the beef between our National Commissioner Cele Sitole as well as Cele. Obviously, this also cuts through the factional beefs that were happening. Remember, Cele was rooting for President Ramaphosa. He was in the CR17 faction. He wasn't hiding it. He was talking about it when asked, and which was, I suppose, a bit of a brave move, given that it's from KZN, of which was a huge base for the Nkosazana Dlamini faction, and given a whole large number of the ANC membership, which the KZN commanded a whole number of members over there, which always makes impact when it comes to conferences, and which would easily sway the direction as to which would the presidential candidate would be. So he gambled and did bet well and won himself a position of being the Minister of Police right now. And on the other side, Cele Sitole's the court cases, which then stated that Cele Sitole had stopped a few investigations of the police by the police watchdog. And in that, it stated that there was an inflation in terms of a price for the spy gadget device, which they inflated up to almost 50 million rands, of which the idea was to get some of the money from it and then sponsor the Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma faction for presidency. And you can see these are the factions which were still raging on. And also, it highlights the very same issue of which Ramaphosa was talking about in that leaked audio of state security or other government department funding the presidential candidate, of which he was stating that he will take the fall for it. That is President Cyril Ramaphosa, okay? And also, this issue now is one of the things which then made it not possible when the unrest were going on, where the ANC factions were not communicating with each other well. And you also had different versions of opinion from all of them. You had the former Minister of Defense Nosiviwe Nqakula saying, hey, there's no insurrection here. You had also other ministers saying otherwise. And so even when this report is coming out, and by the way, there was also a report which stated the importance of making the state security being independent from the president. Remember, Cyril Ramaphosa has put the state security agency under his office of the presidency, which is being overseen by James Bond 007 Mondli Gungubele, as this new gentleman was joined Action SA was just jokingly calling him that former Mayor Baloyi of the Midval. And I remember Julius Malema was saying, hey, listen, man, I mean, there's a whole lot of money to be looted, basically from the state security agency. Why?
So what is taken to the presidency is not SSA necessarily, it's the slush fund. They took that money there because he's going to conference this year. He's going to need that money because the Oppenheimers, the Ruperts, and all of the CR17 people, they can no longer donate. They are very scared because they say, well, we're going to be disclosed here. With this CR17, the way it's being challenged, one day some judge is going to give a ruling or open here. So we can't do it again, Cyril. You are in power now. You have to find you a way of sustaining your campaign.
Well, he was saying that President Cyril Ramaphosa has now just placed it under his office of the presidency because it's going to be easy money. It's easy to take the slush fund money that's been allocated to that department and use it to be able to run campaign. Why? There are new donor funding laws for the politicians, and they've kept it to, I think, 100,000 rands. And for brand or image purposes of view of optics, most business people or companies don't want to be associated with the ANC no more. What would the solution be now if they are lacking in terms of funding? The slush fund, matter of national security, not investigated, and so forth. So that stands to make the CR, is it 2024 now, campaign to be able to get funds if people are embarrassed to fund the ANC. That's one of the things that Julius was saying. So it is what it is with the factional wars raging. Obviously, unfortunately, we have a whole lot of unemployment. I think the youth, way over 50% unemployment, issues of high level of poverty, and so forth, of which other politicians could use to manipulate the masses in order for them to be able to push their certain agendas and narratives in order to grab that leadership position and be at the union buildings. The report states that this is still going to continue because obviously the ANC government is not coherent in terms of communication and also in terms of just being reliably having a good communication with each other in order to execute stuff that you have to execute at the time that they're needed to be executed because of the factional wars. So that's just my take. My name is Mamuji, and thanks for watching the Mamuji Show. I'm out.